Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a horror film from Germany, German language English subs, released in the year 2014, directed by Till Kleinert, and this movie is called Der Samurai. So the story Der Samurai is set in a very remote community in Germany, surrounded by forest, and this young police officer is tasked with tracking down a wolf that is terrorising the community. So the community want this wolf caught, so he's setting up all these traps, but he has a strange connection with this wolf, and people start to believe that maybe he doesn't want to kill the wolf, he actually wants to befriend the wolf. So this police officer is a very strange person. So one day he gets a phone call. Now this phone call is from a stranger, and the stranger says that he wants to talk to him. He's not going to tell him what about on the phone, he just has to meet him at this certain place. So this is what starts the policeman's nightmare, because when he gets to this meeting point, he realises that the person on the other end of the phone line is a psychopath wearing a dress and is armed with a samurai sword, and he starts to go on a rampage, killing all these people, which is basically connected to this police officer. So the police officer is chasing him through the night, and he has to try and stop this maniac and at the same time get to the bottom of why this guy is really there. So what happens at that point on, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Der Samurai. This movie, not a lot is going on. On face value, the movie is very simplistic, and that's ultimately what the problem is that after you see the film once, you're probably not going to want to see it again. But the strange thing about the film is that although it's not a movie that tries a lot, underneath, I actually thought it was a very complex film, but unfortunately the complexity of the film underneath, it doesn't really make it all that memorable. It makes it very curious, but it doesn't really make it a terribly memorable film. I mean, it's not a movie you're going to be rushing back to try and get answers from. And that to me was, I can applaud the fact that yes, it wants to be something a little bit different, but I thought that although the movie was trying different things and the director was trying different things, he still reined it in a little bit too much. So I thought the overall idea underneath, and I'm not going to give away, I don't want to spoil anything, I thought the idea underneath, it had a lot of areas to really expand on them, and I thought they were very good ideas the director had, but because they weren't expanded to the point where you felt satisfied, it does come across as a little empty. So the movie does have a very homoerotic tone to it, without really spelling it out for you. It doesn't actually say that, but you get the strange feeling. I thought the exchanges between this police officer and this villain were very intriguing. But as I said, that underlying quality and the underlying sort of awkward tension that these two had, I thought it could have been expanded a little bit more, and the movie could have been a little bit longer, because I just didn't get that satisfied feeling from it. So visually it's a very good film. It's a lower budget movie, so it's not going to hit you with a high-end production. I thought the acting was hit and miss. I didn't really like the police officer, and the supporting cast, the group of friends in the film, I thought weren't very memorable, and that's unfortunately the curse of the whole film, is that yes, it does have an interest in it, it does have a very strange quality, but unfortunately it's not as captivating, it's not as interesting as you probably, as it probably should have been. So the overall, the very simplistic characters I actually thought strangely worked for the film, in that you don't know too much about them, so when things are happening during the film, it actually leaves a lot of curiosity, it leaves a lot of interpretation, so you can draw your own conclusions as to what is going on, as to who this villain is, as to who the police officer is, and as actually, how everything is connected to this wolf that is terrorising this community. So I thought that there were a lot of very strong animalistic qualities to the film as well, and very primal qualities. And as I said, there's a very homoerotic tone that the film has, that it does have a very awkward sort of sense to it. So that is something I really appreciated about this film, and I actually thought it was a lot better than I was expecting. But as I said, it doesn't really have that punch to make it a very memorable film, and it's not a film that I would say go out there and see straight away. If you come across it for very cheap, or if it's at the cinema, I would definitely say if you're a fan of European horror, this is a movie to check out. But as I said, unfortunately there is a lot of simplicity to the movie. There's a little bit of complexity underneath, but unfortunately I just think it was outweighed a little bit by simplicity. The story doesn't really go to extraordinary lengths. As I said, there is a lot of discussing quality to the film, but strangely, although it does make you think, and although it does make you draw your own interpretations, as I said, it doesn't really make you want to go back and revisit it again. So it is a movie that does have some violence, but it doesn't really rely on that. It just relies on the very psychological element of awkwardness. As I said, this police officer. He's not treated very well by the community, so you sense that it's a movie also about frustrations against, you know, closed-minded people, and so all of that combines to a worthwhile experience. But as I said, don't rush out and see it because it's not a fantastic film. But having said that, it is not a complete waste of time as well. So overall, for The Samurai, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I'm still going to recommend it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.